the searchers I seek, the wisdom that they speak, the lessons that they teach, just a searcher like me.
Hello there once again, fellow peregrinos. Welcome to El Camino de Santiago, Pilgrims podcast, where we talk about planning, preparation and packing for walking El Camino de Santiago, as well as tips, tricks and hacks to make your journey along the way a lot more enjoyable. This week we're talking to Elena Marsh, who has walked the Camino Frances from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port all the way to Santiago, and it was August last year. Is that correct, Elena?
Yes, that's right.
Fantastic. Now, I always like to start the interview by asking, let's imagine, for example, we're sat in the Pyrenees, we're in Horizon, halfway up the first climb, and we're breaking the ice, and the question that often comes up when pilgrims do that is, please take us back to the time and place. How and why did you decide to walk the Camino?
Oh, with pleasure. Even if it was so long ago, at least it seems like. It was, I believe, 8 years ago. Back then we were living in Hamburg, and together with my husband we liked watching movies in the evenings and then discussing them. So this time he introduced me to, as you can probably guess very easily, the film The Way with Marsh. And it just absolutely immediately got me in. And before that, I was in kind of at that stage of my life when I was so desperate to an experience, a very special one, when I believed I can stretch myself and I can learn new things about myself, really get out of the comfort zone. I think it probably was too comfort in Hamburg back then. And when I saw that film, I said, oh God, I really want to do it. I don't know when, I don't know how it will happen, but I certainly want to do it. And it took us 7 years, to bring all the stars together to the point when we decided finally to go.
So what was the catalyst? What happened in your life and your husband's life? What happened together for you guys to make that decision to go, to free up the time to make it happen?
Pretty much so. We both are self-employed. And on the one hand, it provides a freedom. On the other hand, nobody pays for your holidays while you're not working. So you need to make sure that everything is arranged with the clients, that you have enough savings to pay the bills while you're not working. And it's not just a couple of weeks holidays, it's 5-6 weeks. So that was pretty much about that.
So you just had to make a few moves in your personal and professional lives to be able to make it happen.
True. Yes, exactly.
Okay, so you walked it this time last year, more or less this time last year, so last summer basically, and it looks like the Camino is going to be open to pilgrims from some countries that may be included in Spain's travel corridors. And any advice that you could give for walking it during the summer for those that may be fortunate enough to be able to go sometime soon?
Have a big enough water bottle, something where there were a couple of stretches where I remember we were really, really thirsty and dehydrated, and especially when you pass through Meseta. And there were long stretches, long roads, which are terribly hot, and there is no shade, very little shade on the way. So to have a good supply of water and the hat on your head is really essential for the trips like this. And pack as light as possible. So those are probably the main things. I believe we will be talking about blisters. It's a different story a little bit, but I think still in summer there is slightly different type of self-care when it comes to your feet than it is in winter.
Okay, so how did you care for your feet?
taking off my shoes as often as possible, and actually making sure. Well, first of all, for me, it was absolutely critical to have a breathable shoes, light and breathable. So this is why I when I was choosing my can I say foot? No,
Footwear, yeah, your footwear, yeah, footwear.
Footwear. I wasn't going for the hiking boots because it was like, as I said, that was essential for me that they're light and breathable. So I was just like a trekking or hiking, rumbling shoes kind of thing, in which I hike quite comfortably in the Bavarian Alps. So I just bought the new ones perhaps 3 or 4 months prior to Camino, and really made them a bit tired on the local hikes, so that I make sure that they're comfortable, that there are no any risks for blisters, etc. And during the Camino, I really like I don't know, it depends really on the person, but for me, probably every hour and a half, I took them off and took my socks off and dry everything and dry my feet. And if there was a need, every morning I applied Vaseline, which actually helped. And I did not have a single blister all the way through. So I believe I was one of the luckiest. But at the same time, I also believe that it was because I really took care of that.
Okay, so you mentioned having light and breathable footwear. You mentioned giving your feet as much air as possible, wicking away moisture as well as making sure that those friction points are well lubricated with the Vaseline. So you mentioned a few things that you would have on your kit list, but imagine you were to go back tomorrow and you were going to start packing right now. What would be the 3 most important things that you take with you, apart from the obvious, which will be the backpack, footwear, and the socks?
I have weak knees, and for me to have, like, I really thought it might be a problem for me to walk the Camino, because like after the local hike, I struggled with my knees and very painful, and I discovered a fantastic thing, which is, I don't exactly know how they're called. I think they're like athletic tapes. So it's not really knee protectors. When I was trying kind of these knee bandages, which you put on your legs, it was terribly hot, especially when it is in summer and you're sweating. The skin is getting irritated. It's very unpleasant. But those tapes, they are different colors. Anybody can buy them, I believe, in a chemist or in Amazon or wherever. You can just apply a particular technique which you can use on YouTube to stretch the tape around your kneecap. And it provides a great support and very light. And they just absolutely saved me on Camino. Just totally. But I know now there are not in every shop and not in every town and not in every village you can buy them on Camino. For some reason, they were more available on the beginning and much more limited, like in the middle of the Camino. So I would make sure that I have a good supply of those, perhaps. And
can I ask a question about the tape? Because that's a really, really helpful point that you're putting forward there. I myself have recently discovered that I have a couple of dodgy knee conditions, as we say in England. And for example, I know I've got a slight meniscus tear through playing too much soccer, too much football. And what's the other thing I've got? Anyway, bit of torn cartilage. So I know I've got to have that hoovered out sometime soon. When you're playing this tape, which I'm about to go on a Camino and thinking, so I've got kind of a personal interest in the answer to this question, is that this sports tape, I think it's called kinesiology tape or kinesiology tape. We'll look it up, the correct name of it. Do you have to apply it every day? Does it have to come off and on every day?
Well, I did. Actually, they say, like my doctor actually also, who advised me to try them, said that in the normal conditions, you can leave them for 2-3 days. But obviously, like, well, I don't know, Camino is slightly different than the normal circumstances. So you're just sweating more and you're dusty if you're walking in shorts, for example. So I took them off every evening, like after the shower, or before the shower, sorry, and then I put them on the new beats in the morning.
Okay, so you it's probably best practice to maybe apply them every few days, but you did it every day.
I did it every day. Yeah,
Right.
that's
Okay.
right.
I'm just thinking with a I've got quite hairy legs, so I think it might be quite painful for me to do every day. But yeah. So that's a really nice tip. So you mentioned the sports tape and two other things that you take with you, Elena.
Yeah. I discovered for me personally the power of Latino music. I don't know how applicable it would be for every pilgrim. I really was not quite aware of that. I remember they were like in the beginning of Camino. I don't remember actually what town we were approaching, but it was just, I don't know, third or fourth day, I think, of Camino. And I remember I was so tired. I was just absolutely exhausted. Um, and then there was an internet connection, and at some point we stopped. And somehow I went to, I don't know, like YouTube, and I thought, how can I cheer myself up, or how can I uplift my spirits? And I came across some, like, dancing Latino music, and I noticed an immediate response in my body, like, the energy just poof, lift up. So I downloaded a bunch of Latino songs, and I was flying next, I don't know, 6 kilometers it was perhaps, till our point of our destination. And since then, every, like, we were walking quite long distances every day. I think, well, probably 25, 30 kilometers would be kind of an average. Sometimes it was more, very rarely it was less. And very often this last, I don't know, 8 kilometers, I thought, oh, I need a Latino shot, and I would just put my earphones with Latino music, and it just really, really helped me.
Any
Um,
specific artists or songs that you can recommend that will give people that, as you call it, quote unquote, Latino shot?
yeah. Well, I think it's really depends on the taste of a person.
This is all about
Oh
you,
God.
Elena. What's your taste? What do you
Yeah, what was
recommend?
that taste? What was that? My goodness, like Santana? Was Santana, I
Okay.
think, the name? What else was it?
Do you mean the
Gosh.
guitarist Carlos Santana? Right.
Yeah. That's, yeah. It's a kind of, I think it's the only name which I remember now. To tell you the truth, since I came back from Camino, I never get back uh, um, to that album in my playlist anymore. Kind of not really feeling the need anymore for that. Maybe I should. That, yeah, sorry, that's the only name which comes to my mind right
Okay.
now. Something
Well,
like Lambada, something very silly, but
okay. Well, as long as it's not the Macarena, we'll let you off. That's fine.
no, thank you.
Or the ketchup song.
No, that I don't even know, but
Okay. No, you're not missing
right.
anything there. Don't worry. So far we've got sports tape. We've got Latino music. Sorry for any
Yeah.
fans of the ketchup song there, but and one last thing.
I know there are lots of discussions in the Camino Facebook groups around whether to take the walking sticks with you or not to, and my response always yes, certainly. Because, like, I was using it. It's again, it's to support your knees, it's support your back, and well, unless you are, like, I don't know, super sporty, a super athletic person, then you might need to. But as I noticed in the community, the majority of the people are just like normal people, who doesn't do any, like, professional sports maybe or whatsoever. So they were super helpful for me, and even my husband, who never had been a big fan of them, like hikes, he never used them before, and he absolutely discovered them for himself during the Camino.
Do you use those when you're hiking around Bavaria as well?
I do actually. Yeah, I do.
And have you noticed a difference in your knees specifically
Totally.
when you use them, when you don't use them?
Absolutely, absolutely. I like, I have, luckily we are living in a countryside, so there are lots of beautiful opportunities to have a local walk, not really hiking, but rather like rumbling or walking. And my 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 normal um, trail here takes around 7-8 kilometers. And there were a couple of times when I did not take my sticks with me, and I was so tired in the end, and my knees were hurting. Never happened on this trail, walking sticks.
Okay, that's interesting to hear. Especially, like I said, I do ask from because I have a personal interest in the answer. Because my wife and I are about to go and do the Camino del Norte in August, and as part of our honeymoon, and I am for the first time thinking of using sticks because I know my knees probably need a little bit of protection for the first time. And I always did used to pick up some sticks from the woods actually, just to get a bit of extra rhythm as well. I always found that it gave me a bit of rhythm picking up the sticks and kind of just gave me a little bit of an impetus, having a bit of a metronome kind of rhythm to walk to. But obviously the benefits from taking the force out of your joints and your back and our body are really worth considering. So we've gone for sports tape, Latino music, and your walking sticks. A very, very different answer to what we're used to here. So thank you very much for giving us a different viewpoint on that, Elena. So I've seen from your blog that you stayed on many different places, and your blog, just in case the listeners are interested, is Pilgrim Notes, isn't it? Pilgrimnotes.com?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Pilgrims minus notes .com. That's right.
.com, but yeah, or pilgrims -notes, pilgrim minus dot notes, .com. So it's got some really lovely write-ups there, some really nice photography as well. You're very creative and arty on the photos. And a favourite albergue out of the many that I saw on there that you'd recommend others stay at?
Yeah, that's absolutely favorite, and I didn't have a second thought. I wouldn't have a second thought. It's albergue we stayed in Molina Seca. So Molina Seca is a little picturesque village when you go down the hill from Cruz de Ferro. And it's before, and many pilgrims keep tracking towards Ponferrada and decide to stay in Ponferrada. And for us, we kind of kept this option open. So we came down from Cruz de Ferro, and we were again like the hot and tired from the long trek down the hill. Like my knees were hurting, and then there was a river there. So when you just approach Molina Seca. And so me, my husband, and a pilgrim friend of ours, we just, took off the clothes and our backpacks, and we jumped into the river, and it was so refreshing and enjoyable. So very quick with my husband, we decided not to go to Ponferrada, but to stay locally. And just by chance, we kind of looked at a couple of albergues, and we approached one which is next to the local church, which calls Hostel Casa San Nicolas. And we met with the host, whose name is Louise, and he was just, from the very moment, we felt so warm and so welcomed. So we decided, oh, that's great, we just stay here. And it served us such a great deal, because next morning when we woke up, my husband felt very sick, and which came later as a result of our swimming in the river. I think he got some how it called? He probably just, I don't know, his stomach did not react to maybe some water he happened to swallow.
Okay,
or something.
So maybe a stomach upset or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And so we started walking despite of his condition, and we went a bit farther after the Ponferrada. And then he said, I just cannot move anymore. He really felt very, very bad. So we had to stop there. And just luckily, Louise, when we were leaving, he noticed that the condition of my husband wasn't very good, and he said, please, if you need any help or whatsoever, call me. He left us his phone number. And we also created a very great friendship with a man who was living in this hostel before. His name is Tim. So we had his phone number as well. So we stayed for some time in that place near Ponferrada. My husband did not get any better, even got worse. And we called them to Louise and to Tim. And they just straight away, almost like within 15, 20 minutes, they jumped into the car and they came and they picked us up, and we stayed in Hostel Casa San Nicolas for another 2 or 3 days, and they took such great care of us. Made sure that they also go by Ponferrada Hospital, and they translated from English to Spanish and back everything and explained and really made sure that we are taken care of. And then drove to the chemist and shop to buy everything there. Like, such kind of kindness and such kind of just desire to be there for you and to help you in the difficult situation just was I don't know, we both had tears in our eyes when we met somebody who was like so helpful in one of the most difficult journey of our Camino. So and it's not only about the hostel as such, was very cozy and very nice and very just really pretty and lovely place to be, but it's always so much about the people who you can just till the I don't know, they really taught us how to accept really the sincere help of others, and that was such a beautiful thing.
So, first of all, let's say a big thank you to Luis, and I think the name you said was Tim. Is that correct?
Tim, yes, that's
Tim,
right.
where was he from?
Tim is American,
Right.
and Tim is absolutely incredible character. He walked Camino 2 years or several years ago, a couple of years ago, and now he left America and he returned back to Spain with a mission. Well, I'm not sure if I have rights to uncover this mission, but it's a very important one. It's related to Cruz de Ferro, and every pilgrim will benefit from this mission as soon as it will be accomplished. He's a very devoted man, and he now donates lots of his time and energy to this vision and mission. So there was wonderful meeting him as well.
Okay, so Team, who's on some kind of secret mission by the sounds of it, and all will be revealed sometime soon, if I'm not mistaken there. So we'll watch that space, and if you could, is there anywhere we can keep up with Team on his mission, or is it totally undercover?
Well, I will ask him. Maybe he will be keen on talking to you, and I'm pretty sure that will be an amazing interview with him.
Okay, well, if you could, I would appreciate that referral. No pressure from me, but if Tim would love to come on the podcast, I'd be honoured to speak to him. But if he doesn't, let's just say right now, Tim, thank you for your above and beyond help and care from Elena and your husband, whose name is?
My husband is Dan.
Dan, okay. And also to Luis at Hostel Casa San Nicolas in Molina Seca. So by the sounds of it, if you stay in there, in that place, you're going to be in very good hands and receive care that goes above and beyond, and hospitality that goes above and beyond. So thank you very much for sharing that lovely story. And it is just a story that is typical of the kind of help that you receive from fellow pilgrims and the locals along the Camino. So thank you so much for sharing that, Elena. And from your favourite albergue to what about a favourite town, city, village, or perhaps a hidden gem that you'd recommend, somewhere that may be worth staying an extra day or at least stopping?
Well, we actually, I mean, in terms of the big places, big towns which pilgrims are passing through. We really enjoyed being in Leon, and we were not able to stay there any longer than much longer. We probably spent there just half a day. We walked a little bit shorter that day, and we made sure that we have the full afternoon there. And we really loved walking in the center, and it's very cozy, and it's very, I don't know, typical kind of a Spanish, but nothing grand. And I don't know, for some reason, Leon was had a special energy and color for us, comparing even Burgos is beautiful and Pamplona is beautiful, but for somehow Leon was particularly attractive to us, and we like the Cathedral of Leon very much. These beautiful windows, the mosaics, and just glorious, really. So we really liked it there, and if we had a chance next time, we would definitely stay there a bit longer.
And what about a specific restaurant, bar, or cafe along the way where the food was worth going back to visit again?
That's a tricky one, because to tell you the truth, well, of course we did have like lunches on the way, and we always enjoyed it. And like always, our absolute favorite thing was tortilla de patata with fresh squeezed orange juice. And in some places they were better than the others, but I cannot mention any really particular one. But in the evenings we always enjoyed the communal dinners in the albergues we stayed, and so there were particularly a couple of albergues where the communal dinner was really delicious.
And which ones were those?
One of them was in Los, and the place of the albergue, the name of the place is Meeting Point, so Meeting Point Hornelos. And the other one was also like absolutely amazing dinner, and the community of people also working in that albergue was lovely. There was Albergo Casa Rural, and that was in the place called Murias de Recibaldo. So it's a very tiny place, which is after Astorga and before Fontibadon.
So between Astorga and Fontibadon, that place,
Exactly.
Casa Rural. Okay, and can you remember? Can you just repeat the name of the town, please? Sorry, because I thought I lost it on the audio.
Oh, pardon me. Name of what?
The town or the village where you find Casa Rural.
Yeah, Murias de Recibaldo.
Murias de Recibaldo. Okay, and that's Casa Rural, and you'll find that between Astorga and Fontibadon. Perfect.
That's right.
So Meeting Point in Hornelos, where you specifically enjoyed the communal pilgrim dinner, and Casa Rural in Murias de Recha. I wrote it down, and my handwriting, I can't read it. Again?
Recibaldo.
Thank you.
Recibaldo.
We got there in the end. Third time lucky. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, I mean, it's good that you can recommend those, because sometimes those are the nights that you remember more than anything, that one communal dinner where you met lots of pilgrims from around the world. So, I mean, I've had this, I guess, debate before with pilgrims on the podcast, and also I've seen it online about the difference between staying in hostels and albergues and hotels. Did you and your husband mix it up along the way, or was it all just hostels and albergues?
We never stayed in the hotel as such.
Right.
That was mostly albergues and hostels. We stayed maybe just, well, I begin to feel guilty a little bit now. So we stayed only, I think, 3 or 4, maybe 5. Maybe 5 times we stayed in the like big shared rooms where a number of pilgrims live together. But in the majority of the cases, we were trying to find the hostel where there is like a separated room or something for 2 people. Just because my husband is really struggling sleeping with lots of other people, he's lacking air, or he's really struggling when somebody is snoring, etc. So he needs lots of things to be perfect for him to have a good night's rest. So we had to prioritize that.
Why would you have any reason to feel guilty about that?
Well, it's kind of it's like I don't know, is it a prejudice or something that the real pilgrims experience need to be like the fool when you really struggle through the snoring of the fellow pilgrims at night, So we were lacking that luxury.
Well, I don't. From my own personal opinion, I think sometimes when you've struggled through a night of snoring, sometimes they make very good. They make you appreciate the quieter nights, I think, and I don't know. I think it can be good to mix it up, and if you do have the luxury of your budget extending to personal rooms, which you did, then why not take advantage of that if it enhances how you feel on the Camino? I don't think there's any reason to feel guilty about that.
Thank you. I feel better.
No. I mean, some nights it does become too much, and I think we are the best version of ourselves when we have had a better night's sleep. I know I can certainly speak for myself when I say that. I'm certainly better when I've had a good sleep, and more fun to be around and better company. So no reason to feel guilty about that. And I would say that to all pilgrims, really. I mean, it's a very personal journey, but at the same time, I've said this before on the podcast. After my wife and I had spent a couple of nights in hotels, I started to feel like I wanted to be back in the rooms where people were snoring. I actually missed people snoring. I actually missed it. It was like, there's someone snoring again. That's more like it, So I think the old saying, as we say, well, in English, is sometimes you always want what you haven't got. But mixing it up definitely can make the journey more interesting. Okay, so we're going to move on to some quick fire questions now. So short, sharp, sweet answers, and then we'll get back to the main discussion. All right, so... So, your favourite Camino blog or book?
Oh, good. Oh, good. No. Well, I think I did not really read many books on Camino or about Camino. And as well as blogs, even if I'm writing kind of my own, I think I still will say, there is one wonderful little film, a documentary actually, which I think called Three Ways to Santiago, something like that. Does it ring a bell to you?
I know there's one called 6 Ways to Santiago.
6 Ways, yeah, that's it. So it's a 6 Ways to Santiago. So I don't know, it's not exactly the book, but that is a little documentary, and that would be my favorite one.
Right, beautiful answer, thank you. A Facebook forum or Facebook group you may have used to help you with your planning?
I did not actually. Interestingly enough, I joined all the Facebook groups just because of my being nostalgic about the Camino. And it's like Camino Pilgrim Discussion Group, for example.
That's the name of it.
Yeah. There are quite some of them, and I really enjoyed they did after the Camino, to go and to share and see the other people sharing. So it's gave me that smooth transition from Camino to the real life. It's still having that connection with pilgrim spirits through those Facebook groups.
Okay, we'll look forward to revisiting that question at the end about transitioning to normal life afterwards. So the Camino Pilgrims discussion group, and I'd add one more to that as well. There's one called the Camino de Santiago Planning, and Heather Knight's writer is the admin. There's actually an interview with her, episode 24, 25, something like that. So really good resource there. Favourite food and or drink on the Camino? We may have answered this one already, talking about the tortilla de patata.
Yeah, tortilla de patata, orange juice, and paella.
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 Okay.
Yeah, so in that meeting point, actually, that was one dish. That dish was fantastic.
So look out for the paella at the meeting point in Hornios. One thing you wished you'd packed.
That's a tricky question for me because my wishes were about unpacking rather than packing. And I, like 3 or 4 days of Camino, I sent back around 3 or 4 kilos.
And what was included in those kilos?
There was, I promise don't laugh at me. So there was self-inflating mattress.
Right.
There was the pillow, even if this little pillow is the small one and the actually light one, but I was really kind of getting rid of everything. That it was like a metal plate or something what you can eat on or put some food on. Then it was my Kindle book. As on Camino, I switched to audiobooks, and that was great discovery as well. Gosh, what else was there? I think there were some warm clothes which I did not need. Yeah, so these items which I remember I sent.
So something like this, we wouldn't need the self-inflating mattress, wouldn't need the extra pillow. No wonder you sent that stuff back. And obviously you wouldn't take that again. But imagine you were to go back tomorrow and one place you wished you'd stayed over. If you were to go back tomorrow, you'd go and stay there next time.
Well, as I mentioned already, like in Lyon, I would probably stay a little bit longer. And now, as I have my friends in Molina Seca, I would certainly stay longer there.
Molina Seca is a really beautiful little town as well. That is where I would stay if I was to go back to the Camino Frances, Molina Seca. A guilty pleasure that maybe you carried with you. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with this term, guilty pleasure.
I can make a sense of it. I can make a sense.
Okay, like the Latino music, for example.
Yeah. Well, Latino music, it was kind of a pleasure. It was not very heavy as I was carrying my telephone with me. Anyways, you know, I really turned to be a very kind of a pragmatic person in this respect. And one of the key values which I wanted to nourish during the Camino is really like simplicity and trust. So I really was getting rid of stuff. But my husband was an absolutely opposite to that. So he had with him, his back was literally twice as like bigger than mine. And it's not because he was carrying my stuff, he was carrying all his stuff. And there was plenty of secret pleasures like that. So one of them was quite big, actually, if you put your two hands together. So that would be the size of a metal plate he was carrying. And the exclusive purpose of this metal plate was to put his wedding ring and watches in it in the evening, going to bed.
Okay, so it's a good place to... what was that? What did he put that in? Sorry, a metal...
plate.
He put it in a metal plate to... Right, okay, so that was how he kept them safe, basically, when he slept at night.
Yeah.
Right, okay, interesting. Well, you know, you said to me in our pre-interview chat that your husband is from Yorkshire, correct?
Yeah.
Every Englishman knows not to mess with a Yorkshireman, okay? So that's enough right now.
I told that before.
A Camino app that maybe you used. I know you said you were trying to make life a lot simpler, return to some form of simplicity, but maybe you used a Camino app or internet resource because you had your phone with you.
No, I did not actually.
You went off-grid, good stuff.
I think that was even trickier here because we just talked to the people who was walking with us and we just asked them, where are they going next? And so what will be their next point of destination and why they choose that one? So we got the information from them and then we were deciding where we will be heading to.
So it was more the old-fashioned way in word of mouth.
Yeah, that was a word of mouth. My husband, they had a very nice, and I should have probably asked him what exactly the book he had, because that wasn't actually it was a guide, but it wasn't a classical guide. That was quite a bit of a historical information um, about some places on the way. Um, did not provide many advices in terms of where to stay and addresses of the albergues, for example. So we're referring to that occasionally, just when we're interested about the places we were visiting. But that's all.
Okay, so we're going to move back to the main discussion. So feel free to go into a bit more depth with the answers to the next few questions. Now, I'm interested. You've walked it with your husband. I'm about to walk the Camino del Norte with my wife in 6 weeks or so.
Oh, fantastic!
How did you two find the balance of having time together, having time alone? How did you strike that sweet spot in your relationship while you were also having your own personal journeys?
Yeah. Well, that was, in our way, that was quite harmonious, I would say, because first of all, we do enjoy the company of each other. Secondly, we do enjoy the company of the other people. And thirdly, we do enjoy the time of our own. So, and we kind of mix it all quite nicely during the way. Um, Sometimes, I don't know, I will get engaged into the conversation with another person and then would walk by himself. Sometimes he would walk by like talking with somebody and I will be by myself. And we were always kind of walking together, but not necessarily, like step by step. He could go a little bit ahead or I could go a little bit ahead. And then during the little break time, we will meet up again.
Who tended
So
to walk
that's
ahead most of the time?
um,
Just interested because when I walk with my wife,
well,
we've
yeah.
done shorter caminos and we're about to probably the Camino del Norte is going to take us probably a good 5-6 weeks maybe, I'm not sure. And I always found myself walking ahead of my wife, but always kind of so she's in sight, just because I'm quite a lot taller than her. And how did you manage what was your kind of walking routine that you naturally
Yeah.
fell into? Just intrigued
Yeah.
about how you guys did it.
Yeah, I think the more often, like if you look at my photographs,
Yeah.
Camino, you will see quite a lot of a man's back walking ahead. So that's my
My wife
husband.
has many similar pictures actually here.
There are, there are lots of photographs of him walking ahead of me, a silhouette of him. So that's probably quite apparent that it was always, on the majority of the cases, of him, until
That
I
makes me feel
have
a little bit
my
better. That makes me feel just a little bit better.
good. So 1-1.
Yes.
um, so until I have my Latino shot,
Oh, wow. Okay. And then you're speeding ahead.
then I could speed ahead.
Right. Okay. So if he wants to win, he takes the music away from you, right?
Never walked. He never even dared to try.
All right. So imagine or take yourself back to the moment when you and your husband walked into Santiago together. Can you describe the feeling and maybe any advice on how pilgrims can get the most out of that momentous day when they arrive?
Oh gosh, that was something really. Well, the thing is that when my husband got sick, so we lost like 3 days,
What was
which affected.
did you find out what was wrong with your husband in the end? Or what he's,
It was just like a stomach bug, or how you call it, something like that. Yeah. So he recovered after like 3 days. We went back to the way, but we and all the people who we were walking in a parallel with, they all went ahead. And so for us, but we all wanted to meet with them in Santiago before we all go to back to our home countries. And so, which meant for us to speed up to the like we couple of 2-3 days we walked almost 40K a day, 40 kilometers a day, which was like very, very tiring. My knees certainly didn't like it. And so that day when we were arriving to Santiago, and that was 8th of September, and so that was the second or third day in a row when we were walking about 40 kilometers. I was half conscious when we approached Santiago, and that was just so powerful. I think that was afternoon, and there were not many pilgrims who were walking with us, and I was a little bit ahead of me, but not much really, just maybe 2-3 meters, I don't know, 3-5 meters max. And suddenly, when we were already like pretty much on the edge of the town, I heard a sound of the stick, behind my back. And I turned around and I saw a guy, another pilgrim, who was really struggled with one of his feet or leg. I don't remember exactly, but I could see what an excruciating pain he was experiencing. And I slowed down a little bit, and he reached me, and I just looked at his eyes, and everything I wanted to do is just give him kind of some moral support. So I remember I touched his shoulder and I said, "You're doing so well." And he looked at me and he smiled, and his eyes and his smile were communicating to me such a different thing from what I expected. I expected to have, I don't know, like struggle or something, but they were so bright and so light and so smiling. And he looked at me and he said, "Yes, thank you, I do." He really he really knew that he's doing very well, and that encouragement that inspired me so much at that moment. And I remember how my heart was lightened at that moment, and we entered Santiago together with him. Even if we did not talk, we didn't have a power to talk, but as his presence was kind of a uplifting to me, I hope my presence was a bit uplifting to him as well. And we went through Santiago to reach the main square. For some reason, we didn't even question. It wasn't even in our mind at all the idea to go to the hostel before, to get our backpacks off, have a shower, and then go to the main square. Even, a question mark around it. So we went directly to the square. And I remember that it was a little bit kind of a strange to go suddenly through so much people before we reach the square. And when we approach the square, you go through an arch. And there was musicians there. There was a music, and then suddenly entering the square, so all these lights and lots of people. And for me, it was so overwhelming. It just like the world crushed on me at that moment. And I remember I was staying in the corner of the entrance to the square, and again with that sense of overwhelmed, I realized that that's it. I could not do any single step anymore, because I was so tired and so much in pain, but also because emotionally it was just so overwhelming that everything. I remember I was just staying there at the corner. I was just crying, And my husband turned back and he just came to me and he hugged me, and we were staying there together crying, for some time, and just really allowed ourselves to just land at that moment, really to sink, to let it sink, to let it go through our skin, that moment of arrival. That was super, super powerful.
It's a lovely story you're sharing, and firstly about what you mentioned about the moral support you gave to that guy that sounded like he was in pain as he was arriving. I mean, looking at everything that's going on in the world today, it reminds me that people are essentially good, and we have that goodness inside us, even if there is something strange, some shift happening in the world. And that I love that story for that reason, because it's just refreshing my memory that people are good and good things are happening, and these things happen every day all over the Camino. So thanks for sharing that and giving me that reminder about life off and on Camino, and how just such a simple exchange with a fellow human, just something as simple as that exchange of a look in between, in his eyes, and what you said to each other was uplifting for you both, and how you felt finishing your Camino as well, and the sense of relief. And it's overwhelming because it's very vibrant when you arrive into Santiago, isn't it? The music playing, the bagpipes playing in that tunnel, in that archway, as you say, all the reunions happening all over the square. And that sense of just achievement and relief that everyone is feeling at the same time. It's just the way you described it is so beautiful. It gave me goosebumps and reminded me of the first time I arrived in Santiago on my own and how that felt. And what I get from it as well is if you can just get there and absorb it and take it all in, try and don't worry about maybe going to get your compostela straight away. Just try and get there, take it all in, remember it, and once you've absorbed that moment and let it sink in, as you say, then you can think about going to get something to eat, because maybe you still got your backpack on your back, and you're still, I guess you are still that sense of walking in with that backpack on your back is you've carried it all the way, so you might as well take it into the square as well, So, exactly. So, no, great stuff. Thank you so much, Elena. And just talking of your blog, just remind us again so the listeners can find out where they can look at your photos and read your wonderful notes.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you, first of all, for letting me to kind of relieve, the Camino experiences through all those memories and stories. Really, I appreciate it very much. So so the Camino blog, not only Camino, but actually the plan is to write about and post some more pictures and notes from other different trips and hikes and adventures I'm on the way. But now it is about Camino. So it's a www.pilgrims-notes.com.
Okay, so www.pilgrims-notes.com, and you'll find all Elena's stuff on there. Now, I know, Elena, that you are, in your professional life, you are a coach. What kind of coaching do you specialize in?
Personal and leadership transformation.
And how did the Camino help you with your own personal transformation, both professionally and, I guess, like I said, in your personal life?
Absolutely. Oh goodness, in so many ways. Any transformation begins first of all from self-awareness, and we live the kind of a day-by-day life in the limited set of circumstances and limited set of experiences. And when we go to something which is bigger than our normal life, and especially for such an extended period of time, like in Camino for several weeks, I got in touch with so many sides of myself which I was not aware of before. And it comes about very deep level of empathy and very deep level of compassion and very deep level of hope and very deep level. It's not just a hope and trust, but I'm not terribly religious person, but I think I'm faithful, and it's pretty much like trust from the big T, when you really trust that you will make it, that everything will be all right eventually. So that was my greatest gift from the Camino, to develop that sense of trust that whatever happens, it happens for the better, and whatever happens will, bring you to the right point in life, in the where you're supposed to be. So that was my main, transformational lessons of Camino.
And for the pilgrims that will be returning to their everyday lives, their working lives, I guess, after the wandering wanderlust lifestyle, any advice you can give on making that transition as smooth as possible?
As I mentioned, it was helpful for me to get in touch, first of all, with fellow pilgrims who I made connections and developed friendships during the Camino. So I still in touch with many of them. We have a WhatsApp group and we support each other and we share things with each other and occasionally organize the Zoom calls with each other. And the Camino Facebook groups, again, where people come in with a question, stories, so their impressions, emotions. So that was very, very nice as well. And of course, like with my husband, I don't know, for the first 6 months, I think there were no evenings when we were not remembering or discussing any of our Camino experiences. But another thing, which I think was very important to me, is Camino does not end in Santiago. That was something which I really took with me. I like to call myself like a pilgrim of life, because all those things which I learned in Camino, like I said, the empathy and compassion and trust and building that very deep, meaningful connections with people. Oh gosh, there are so many opportunities for that in our real life. Come on, let's go, let's do it. Let's walk this life together.
That's really, really nice. Yeah, I think I've called it the Camino University.
Absolutely, that's
because
right.
There's so many life skills you learn on the Camino, and like you said, the faith, the empathy, I guess learning to trust people,
and trust yourself.
Trust yourself, breaking personal limits, both I guess physically and mentally. It is a steep learning curve every single day, spiritually, emotionally. And for anyone that's wondering whether they should do it, I think those are reasons why. Elena, thank you very much for your time. Thanks for sharing your stories with us, your experiences, your tips, your advice. Any plans to do a Camino again soon, or is it just hiking closer to home?
This year, probably, yes, even though we also wanted to go to do the Camino del Norte this year in August. So we could have met on the path with you, but due to Corona and again, this being self-employed, etc., we decided that this year we will have the local walks mostly, and next year we will get back to Camino, either North or Portuguese.
Okay, well, whether you go to the Portuguese next year or if it's the Camino and follow in my wife and I's footsteps, I want to wish you the Camino motto, which is Ultrea. And of course, move forward with courage. And I promise to post some of my photos, well, my wife's photos online, and you can live the Camino del Norte vicariously through us when we're finished.
Thank you very much. So, Buen Camino.
Thanks, Elena. Buen Camino.
As I walk with a few good men, I wonder how to find more along the way. I wonder if I saw them, what I would say. I wonder if I'd recognize as they play. It's the searchers I seek, just a searcher like me. They say that it takes one to know one. Are they really gonna be just like me? Do they stare at the stars and feel inner peace? Do they smile imagine that one man's gonna change the world. I wonder if he's gonna be just like you. Can you spread peace? 'Cause it's the only way. Will you find beauty on a cold, bitter day? It's the searchers I seek, the wisdom that they speak, the lessons that they teach. Just a searcher like